Welcome to all of you. In this video, we will know about the summaries of great dramatic works of Christopher Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe has written 6 plays, but 4 of his plays are considered great in English drama. They are Tamburlaine, Dr. Faustus, The Jew of Malta, and Edward II. The summary of the Tamburlaine the Great is that the play is divided into 2 parts. Tamburlaine is a Scythian shepherd by birth, but he rises to be a great ambitious soldier. Having raised an army, he sets out to conquer the world. First, he conquers Persia. Then he attacks the kingdom of the east and conquers them one by one. He makes their kings his captives and humiliates them. So heartless is he that he puts one of the king into a cage like an animal and makes fun of him publicly. He attacks Egypt and marries Genocrat, the daughter of Soldan. But during his conquering campaigns, Genocrat dies, leaving Tamburlaine a ruined and shocked hero. Then he puts all his 3 sons to test in order to ascertain their courage. The second son does not prove worthy of his father's goal. As a result of it, he is put to death. Then comes the inevitable moment of Tamburlaine's death. He laments and abuses gods. At last, Tamburlaine has to yield to the mighty death. Throughout the play, the hero Tamburlaine remains standing before the audience. All the other characters pale into insignificance. Even Genocrat, whom he adores heartily, speaks very little. What was we know of her is through the words of Tamburlaine only. So, at several places, Marlowe's love of beauty finds its expression in this play. It reminds one of his Renaissance spirit. The greatest defect in this play is the lack of action. Dramatic unity is also woefully lacking. The whole play seems but a jumble of scenes depicting the barbaric acts of Tamburlaine. No other character stands out, but it is the first play of the Renaissance having fine pieces of poetry. Second play is the tragical history of Dr. Faustus. This play depicts the life history of a medieval scholar, Dr. Faustus. He happily sells his soul to the devil with a view of acquiring limitless knowledge and power and all the worldly pleasures. The devil grants him everything he demands on the condition that after 24 years his soul will be condemned to hell forever. The doctor thinks himself most happy on earth as everything past and or present as at his back and call. Good angel warns him not to surrender to the devil, but Faustus ridicules one and all. In the very beginning of his magician's career, he rides an airy chariot and makes a survey of heavenly bodies. Lucifer is always there to help him. He keenly desires to see the face of immortal Helen. He does see her and is bewitched by her beauty. At last, 24 years are gone, and the soul of Faustus is to be condemned to hell. He now cries to be pardoned, but the devil threatens him to remember his promise. Till now, he never let the name of God come upon his lips. But now he remembers God and Christ, yet he feels that a very heavy thing sits upon his tongue which does not let him repent. His soliloquies in the last scene, but at last, cut is the branch that might have grown full straight. He dies, and his soul is taken away to hell. Dr. Faustus is a tragedy thirst for knowledge and power. Like Tamburlaine, it has also great Renaissance spirit. Despite the presence of a clown, the current of seriousness runs throughout the play. The Dr. Faustus is the only character like Tamburlaine that dominates the play. Other characters are there but shadowy. Here, 2 women characters are wanting. Jew of Malta. This is the third play written by Christopher Marlowe. Jew Malta. Barabbas is one of the richest Jews of Malta. He is the hero of the present play. His sole aim is to collect as much as wealth as he can. The play opens with the scene where Barabbas is found in his counting house with heaps of gold. Meanwhile, there comes to Malta the Prince of Turkey. Barabbas refuses to pay him the tributes, as a result of which the governor seizes all his property and his house is turned into a nunnery. At this, Barabbas sets out to take revenge and commits a number of murders. His daughter Abigail manages to enter the nunnery and brings out all the wealth from it. She, however, has 2 ardent lovers. One of them she actually loves. The clever Jew sets one lover against the other. Both of them are killed thereby. Abigail takes shelter in the nunnery. Then all the inmates are poisoned to death by Barabbas with the help of a slave, who too is killed by later on for betraying Barabbas. In the meantime, Turks come to attack Malta. Barabbas joins the Turks. When they win, Barabbas tries to overthrow the Turkish ruler. In this attempt, he is, however, captured and killed by the former governor of Malta. In this manner, the bloody life of greedy Jew of Malta, Barabbas, comes to an end. In the Jew of Malta, as the story shows, unquenching lust of a man for riches is exhibited. Jealousy, hatred, greed, cruelty, betrayals arise, or the natural offshoots of running after riches. The opening of the play, no doubt, is praiseworthy, but towards its middle and end, the play becomes melodramatic as a series of murders take place. One horror comes after another, hence, the sublimity of the play is evaporated. Its plus point, however, is that the plot is well knit. Moreover, Barabbas is much more a person than the shadowy figure of Tamburlaine. The action of the play is also concentrated within a smaller compass. Besides, Barabbas is the forerunner of Shakespeare's Shylock, the Merchant of Venice. There is no doubt a word of difference between Barabbas and Shylock, but it can be guessed that Shakespeare's imagination must have been fired by the Jew of Malta. Now, fourth play is Edward II. It is Marlowe's best play. He wrote it a little before his death. Edward II is a king who loves Gaveston, a Frenchman, so much so that he not only neglects his duties towards the nation but even neglects his wife, Isabella. He fails both as a ruler and as a husband. The nobles are very much annoyed and have developed a strong feeling and hatred towards him. Young Mortimer somehow manages to banish Gaveston for some time, but he is soon recalled by the king. Gaveston now behaves most abnormally, insulting the nobles every now and then. He freely hurts, abuses at them. Consequently, the nobles became rebellious and succeed in catching a hold of Gaveston and executing them. The king naturally becomes very angry and gets some of nobles imprisoned. Mortimer flies to France, where Isabella has been living with her young son. With the help of the other barons, Mortimer returns to England and imprisons King Edward II. Mortimer at last is able to win over the heart of Queen Isabella in making her mistress. Then, with her help, he ultimately kills Edward. When Mortimer realizes that he may be put to death any moment, he strives to banish the Earl of Kent, a brother of Edward II. The king's son, Edward III, foils his machinations, kills Mortimer, and imprisons his treacherous mother, Isabella. In this way, he revenges his father's death. At least this play stands quite apart from Marlowe's other three plays. The greatest credit goes to it as the first historical play in English drama. In his previous plays, the writer had but one man show, whether it be Tamburlaine, Faustus, or Barabbas. Here other characters like Gaveston, Mortimer, Isabella, etc., are as importantly drawn as the hero. But Tamburlaine has the idea of conquering the world, and Dr. Faustus desires to possess limitless knowledge and power, while the Jew of Malta is always gold hungry. In Edward II, Edward II has the greatest attachment to Gaveston. Still, other personages too have their identities as his other plays don't possess. This plot too is remarkably well knit. The subject is complex, unlike his previous ones. Hence, there is notable advancement in his structural qualities. The Renaissance spirit is clearly discernible in Edward's speeches, which clearly show his love for luxury. Marlowe's other two plays, The Massacre of Paris and The Tragedy of Dido, are too weak to attract any attention. As a dramatist, Christopher Marlowe shows constant development of his dramatic art. While the first play, Tamburlaine, is a bundle of shortcomings, his later plays reveal great development. If he had lived longer, he would have risen to such heights as Shakespeare attained later. So, this is the summary of his plays. I hope you will like the video.